He once fed a Stanley Cup final opponent punches to the face, then shrugged it off later with, "Because I felt like it."
Period. Agreed. Marchand penalty. Oh, man.
There's a little more there.
Another night, he turned a blowout into a bloodbath, grabbing a celebrating forward and pounding him until he skated off bloody. Was Brad Marchand the nastiest player in the NHL, or just the most hated star of his era? Let's find out. Brad Marchand didn't arrive in the NHL as a golden boy. He came out of Hammonds Plains, Nova Scotia, small, wired, and mean on the puck. By the time he stuck in Boston, he was already finishing every hit, chirping every shift, and testing how far past the line he could go without getting dragged off the ice. The moment that really stamped his name came in the 2011 final. Game 6 in Vancouver. Daniel Sedin stood in front of the net, waiting for the whistle. Marchand just started feeding him punches to the face, one after another, while Sedin barely reacted. No square up, no mutual tilt, just a grinder unloading on a star and daring anyone to stop it. When reporters asked why he kept punching, he shrugged and said, "Because I felt like it." Next season in Vancouver, he twisted the knife.
And while Brad Marchand was
Kissing his Stanley Cup.
As he skated by the Canucks bench, he raised an invisible Stanley Cup over his head and kissed a fake ring on his hand, right in front of the guys he'd beaten. One taunt, two fan bases, pure villain in blue and green, cult hero in black and gold. His suspension history looks like a greatest hits list of cheap shots. Early on, he caught RJ Umberger in the head with an elbow and got 2 games.
Zone. Here's Umberger, and look at right from behind, and look at the elbow to the head of Umberger.
Then came the low bridge on Sammy Salo in their first rematch after the final.
Okay, that is... how low can you get?
Salo stepped into him, and Marchand answered by ducking low and flipping him over his hips along the boards. Salo left with a concussion. The league gave Marchand 5 games, and Canucks fans never forgot.
Rello the shot, saved by Rask, the rebound to the corner.
He slew-footed Derek Brassard, sweeping his legs out and sending him crashing awkwardly into the boards, and sat 2 games. He clipped Mark Borowiecki's knees from the side and got 3 more.
Back is there, and his try is redirected to the corner by Bergeron.
In front of the Tampa Bay net, he speared Jake Dotchin square in the cup, leaving Dotchin crumpled on the ice while Marchand got tossed with a game misconduct. He drilled Marcus Johansson in the head with a flying elbow that cost Johansson another concussion and cost Marchand 5 games. Later, he stuck a leg out and took Oliver Ekman-Larsson down on the rush. And in 2022, with seconds left against Pittsburgh, he completely lost it on Tristan Jarry, punching the goalie in the head, then swinging his stick high, earning a 6-game ban and the record as the most suspended player in NHL history.
Taylor Hall spinning pass. Penguins defended, but it's hanging around right in front. Sorry, you get it.
Ask players around the league and they'll tell you none of this is a surprise. When nearly 400 NHLers were polled on who the dirtiest player was, almost a third of them picked Marchand. One guy just called what he does shady. Another said it was disgusting what he gets away with. Others talked about the little shots you don't always see on the highlight reel. A bump to the chin here, an elbow that slides up into your jaw there, the sneaky slash to the back of a goalie's knees, and the taps and jabs after the whistle that wear you down. That's where the little ball of hate, rat, and noseface killa nicknames came from. He never tried to clean those off. The highlight reel of his nastiest moments just keeps rolling. In a Game 7 against Montreal, Carey Price froze the puck at the top of his crease.
What was that?
Doc, do they play the same style as Martinson?
Marchand skated in, slammed on the brakes, and blasted a wall of snow straight into Price's mask. Unsportsmanlike penalty in the biggest game of the series, and 0 regret.
Along the boards from Milan Lucic. Takes a hit from Matt Cook, but he knew.
Against the Penguins, after jawing with Matt Cook, Marchand ripped a shot past their goalie and went straight at Cook, yelling, "What? What?" instead of celebrating with his teammates. The whole point wasn't the goal on the board, it was the taunt in Cook's face. In a playoff series versus Columbus, he went full cartoon villain.
Torrey Crew to the net, tipped right on. Bobrovsky's down, puck is underneath him, and the whistle.
Scott Harrington slid to his knees in the crease to help cover the puck while a scrum broke out in front. As the refs focused on the pile, Marchand stood behind Harrington, glanced at the officials, and drilled him in the back of the head with a gloved punch. Harrington dropped. Marchand skated away like nothing happened. No call, no extra penalty, just another clip that made the rest of the league hate him more. Same series, different trick. Overtime, game 1.
One save that he might not have made otherwise, but that was about it. Did you ever try one of those?
Marchand lined up at a faceoff next to Cam Atkinson, lifted his right skate, and stomped down on Atkinson's stick blade. The stick snapped in half. Atkinson threw his hands up, got no sympathy, and had to skate to the bench. Later, Marchand joked that Atkinson had been trying to dull his skate and sent him off for a sharpening. He turned a dirty move into a punchline. And then there's the licking. Against Leo Komarov and the Leafs, it started with a kiss on the cheek in a scrum, which was already bizarre. By the 2018 playoffs, Marchand leaned in after a whistle and licked Komarov's neck. No penalty, no immediate suspension, just confusion and memes. When that didn't end it, he did the same thing to Ryan Callahan of the Lightning, dragging his tongue across Callahan's face mid-game.
And up to his usual antics. Oh, it is a night of spite here in Boston.
The NHL had literally never seen this before. There was no licking clause, so they had to call him directly and basically say, one more time and you're getting sat. When a guy forces the league to create an unofficial do not lick opponents memo, you're not dealing with a standard pest. The cheap shots aren't always limited to the whistle either. In 2015, after getting hit by Gabriel Landeskog, Marchand answered with a gloved sucker punch to the head and ate a fine.
A little bit dizzy, and remember, Marchand's already had one collision that resulted in a concussion this year when he rammed himself. And here's Marchand taking a pop at Landeskog.
An opening night after Washington's Cup win, with Boston already down 7-0, he grabbed Lars Eller and absolutely ragdolled him because he didn't like Eller's celly in front of the Bruins bench. Eller skated off bloodied.
It's worked over by Marchand.
Marchand left with more critics and no real team toughness excuse. Against Carolina in the 2019 playoffs, he turned Justin Williams into a prop.
Not enough, got the cross-check, no call made there, went back at him, and it's Williams who's the only one who ends up getting a call here.
He hooked Williams around the neck with his stick in front of the net, stayed out of the box while Williams got nailed for holding, then pointed to the penalty box and traced a C on his own chest to mock the Hurricanes' captain. Williams spent the next game talking bad penalties, and Marchand spent it smirking. Off the ice, he acts like the heel he is. On Twitter, he's roasted fans for the gap in their teeth, joked their eyes are so far apart they might be on the back of their head, and clowned himself with memes about his nose. He knows what people say about him, and he plays with it. Even the All-Star game turned into a stage for it. In 2018, he showed up in Tampa while suspended and got booed every time he touched the puck. He responded by waving, blowing kisses, and soaking it in like a wrestling villain. He posed with fans holding signs that ripped him, and when he got tripped, he went down with a little extra flourish, just to twist the knife. For Bruins fans, the problem is simple. A lot of this stuff hurts as much as it helps. His worst outbursts have come in games where Boston was already frustrated, which means penalties, suspensions, and missed time when they could least afford it. Nobody in black and gold is pretending those moments help them win. So why is he still in demand? Because for all the chaos, he really is a top-end player.
Short-handed goal. That's history for Brad Marchand, tying Rick Middleton with his...
He's had 30 and 40 goal-level seasons, a 100-point year, led the playoffs in scoring in 2019, and turned the penalty kill into a scoring threat. He's played over 1,000 games, but put up more than 1,000 points, passed Cam Neely in playoff goals, and wore the C after Chara and Bergeron. You don't get that leash if you're just a rat on skates, but around the league, the stat line is always sitting next to the rap sheet. 8 suspensions, fines, polls where his own peers call him the dirtiest player in the NHL. Punches, low bridges, spears, stomps, and yes, licking. So when this is all over, what sticks more, the trophies and points, or the nights he crossed the line because he felt like it? Is Brad Marchand the nastiest player of all time, or just the modern NHL's greatest villain? Drop your take in the comments, and if you want more deep dives into the league's biggest heels and legends, hit subscribe and stick around.